Hi guys, ArchieLuxury on the ArchieLuxury channel. And today guys, I got some breaking news for you. Yes, this is some breaking news. I want to talk about the Rolex market and I want to make a announcement. And this is something that is an exclusive to the ArchieLuxury channel. I was talking to a friend who was visiting a very, very prestigious watch dealer. And he was just basically talking to the manager of this AD and said, hey, what's happened with the Rolex market? Rolex! Rolex, Rolex, Rolex. And this guy goes, oh, yes, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Oh, what's that? Rolex is limiting supply. They have reduced the number of Rolexes they release on the market. That's right. This is what's happened. Rolex used to release around about 1 million Rolexes a year. That's right, 1 million. Guess what? Guess what? This is the number that I've been told. Rolex now, they are releasing 600,000 Rolexes only. That's right, 600,000 units. And what they've done is they haven't just chopped out the total production by the same percentage. They have affected the market in a very clever way. They have reduced the numbers of certain models. And for example, the Rolex Datejust line and the Rolex Day Dates. Those lines there, the actual supply hasn't really fallen much. Yes, they're making fewer, but if you look at every Rolex boutique in the world, they will have two-tone Datejusts. They'll have steel with white gold Datejust. They will have Oyster Perpetuals, and they will have Day Dates. What Rolex has done is they have tweaked the supply on sports steel Rolexes. Sports Rolexes have really had the chop. So whereas Rolex, now this is the thing, the rumor was Rolex was doing 1 million. It was probably 1,000,001 in the heyday. Rolex completely changed their strategy. What sort of happened is this was after the Chinese market collapsed, you know, when we had that big scare, that Chinese bubble sort of burst, and we had the anti-corruption legislation where people couldn't give expensive wristwatches as gifts. Rolex, because of the size of the organization, it's very hard for them to ramp down production or ramp up. Rolex is one of the few companies that make so much of their watches internally. They even have their own gold foundry. So it's very hard for a company that controls so many areas of the production line to tweak down or tweak up supply. So Rolex decided, okay, this is going to hit hard, it's going to be nasty, so we're going to reduce the supply. So the rumor was it was over 1 million. And they've tweaked it down to 600,000 units. They've particularly hit the Rolex Steel Sports range, the Rolex two-tone line, and believe it or not, the solid gold. Some of the solid gold has been heavily hit. Now, by Rolex reducing the Steel Sports and bringing production levels down, they've been very clever, because not only have they been able to keep demand coming, demand is actually increasing because people want what they can't have. So you're having 1.1 million units a year. We've reduced it to 600,000. And what we're doing is we have had a couple of flow-on effects. Rolex now, there used to be, in the good old days, going back 10 years ago, you could get off a two-tone Rolex 15 to 20%. Off a solid gold, you get 20 to 25% off. Up to 30% if you really were a shrewd negotiator. To quote Vin Wiki, he was a shrewd negotiator. So now what's happened is, not only have they limited supply of the steel sports pieces, but discounts are a thing of the past. That's correct. So a good friend of mine is looking for a Rolex Gold Daytona. Guess what? This is solid gold with the bracelet. They are offering no discount. And when he can get a discount, it is only 5%. Only 5%. Now, go back a couple years ago and you would have easily been able to get at least 10, if not 20, 25% if you were a shrewd negotiator. So basically, by Rolex turning down the supply, it has made the demand really heat up. Rolex has also cut the number of resellers around the world. They are really tightening up. Any reason to cancel a dealership or take the dealership back, Rolex will do. If Rolex finds that a dealership is discounting or dumping on the grey market, that is a death warrant. That is a death warrant to your AD status. So this is really what is happening there. So Rolex themselves there, they have, I take it on good authority, they have reduced production to 600,000 units a year. Now what's actually happened is Rolex did this to combat the decrease in the Chinese market. The Chinese market has kicked on because they don't let a bit of corruption get in the way of a business deal. No. They nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We've been fucking being corrupt fuckers for years. So its business is turned back to normal, and the rest of the world has been shortchanged in supply. And that's had a fantastic flow-on effect, because not only will they now, not only now are the sports models super in demand, but the discount you could get for Datejust and Day-Dates has basically evaporated. It's down to as little as 5%. 5%! I mean, that is nothing. 5% discount. So it's really having a huge flow-on effect. So there you heard it. First on the ArchieLuxury channel, Rolex reduces production to 600,000 units. 600,000 units. And I got to tell you, it's been a very clever idea. You've got companies like Richemont who are destroying stock. Now, when they say they're destroying stock, they're buying stock back from retailers. This is at wholesale, of course, what the dealer has paid for it. And they're charging a restocking fee. And they obviously would take everything of value out of the watch, like the movement, the hands, everything like that. When I say they're scrapping, we're talking about the gold itself there. They're reusing this. They may melt that gold down to make new solid gold pieces. When they're scrapping, if the steel model is so unpopular, they'll keep a certain quantity in parts. The rest of it they will get rid of, because they don't want these filtering through. Now, the only problem with getting product, buying product back and destroying it is it looks bad on the collector market, because people think, well, if their own company thinks it's worthless, it really hurts the value. So Richemont, even though they bought back stock and destroyed it, and they're not the first. Chanel has been doing this for years. Louis Vuitton has done this for years. They should have kept their fucking mouth shut. You got to keep your fucking mouth shut. Otherwise, it's kind of not prestigious to be doing that. So, yeah, that's kind of the update on the Rolex situation there. I gotta tell you itself that the amazing thing is Rolex reduces production to 600,000. And that's because it's so hard for a big company to ramp up or ramp down. They don't use contractors. They don't subcontract stuff out. They do it all internally. They said, fuck this. We'll ride through the storm. And what's happened is, you look what's happened. They've made their brand recession-proof. They have basically defying the market. They've picked up Panerai customers, IWC. They've pinched all these customers, and this is the way it goes. So Rolex reduces production to 600,000 units a year. You heard it first on the Archie Luxury channel. Tell me what you fuckers think of that. Remember, like, subscribe, tell your fuckhead friends, and don't forget to put a few nasty comments down below.